Hey there, this is Dr. Paul Firnhaber. It's Wednesday and time for another 10 minutes of truth. So we're at a Lincoln Disc and Nutrition Center here in Lincoln, Nebraska, and every Wednesday we want to bring you some information that might be valuable to your health. So the articles that I'm going to talk about today deal with hidden fat that threatens your brain's future health. Now, there was a study that was published in Alzheimer's Research and Therapy, which involved about 1,700 participants who did not have dementia, and they categorized them into underweight, normal weight, and obese groups based on their body mass index. And what they found, and they looked at their brain, and they looked at what was happening in their brain, and what they're finding out is that visceral fat, the fat that surrounds our organs, the more of that you have, the more that it really affects brain function. And they're linking visceral fat now to Alzheimer's disease. So visceral fat's a type of fat stored within your abdominal cavity. And it's not just passive, but it actually causes problems throughout your body, including your brain. And so other factors that relate or influence Alzheimer's is insulin resistance, which we measure in our office with a fasting insulin, and high density lipoprotein, or HDL cholesterol. So we call this normally the good cholesterol. So people that have elevated levels of insulin and low HDL cholesterol have a higher propensity to develop brain problems and Alzheimer's than those who don't. So this study revealed a strong link between abdominal fat and brain volume. Now, this is another study looked at 10,000 healthy American adults averaging about 53 years old. And they did MRI scans of the brain volumes, and they looked at visceral fat based on body mass index, and they found that higher levels of visceral and subcutaneous fat, which is just generally under the skin, are associated with reduced brain volume. Notably, women experience greater brain loss volume related to increased visceral fat compared to men. So it's actually harder on women than it is on men. Furthermore, the study revealed that higher subcutaneous fat also contributes to brain loss volume, and sometimes even more so than visceral fat. So there's subcutaneous fat, which is just below the skin, and there's visceral fat, which surrounds the organs. For individuals aged 20 to 39, the odds of reduced gray matter volume were nearly 6 times higher for those with increased visceral fat. Excess visceral and subcutaneous fat lead to chronic inflammation, which in turn damages brain cells and disrupts normal brain function. So the inflammatory process is believed to contribute to shrinking brain regions essential for cognitive abilities. So these are all lifestyle issues that we need to manage if we can. So let's look at some of the things that you can do for lifestyle that will help lower visceral fat and help raise HDL cholesterol. So HDL cholesterol is primarily raised with exercise. That's a big factor with elevated HDL cholesterol or high HDL cholesterol. So this article looks at 4 primary things to help with this. Number 1 is build and maintain muscle mass through regular strength training. This can be free weights, it can be push-ups, it can be pull-ups, it can be dips, but incorporate resistance training into your exercise program. Number 2, monitor your waist to hip ratio rather than just weight or body mass index. So the ideal waist to hip ratio for men would be 0.8, and I don't think I even have that. And for women, it'd be 0.7. A high risk would be greater than 1. Focus on eating saturated fats from grass-fed animal sources while eliminating processed seed oils. So you find your seed oils primarily, as most of you know, in your highly processed foods. A lot of the breads, a lot of the just processed packaged foods are loaded with things like soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil. Not good at all. And finally, they said you need to get adequate protein from quality sources. Adequate protein intake also helps reduce visceral fat. So if I could say one thing about this, one of the things that causes an increase in visceral fat in your diet is sugar, eating too much sugar. If you eat too much sugar and your body can't get rid of it, it converts it and stores it as fat. So this is bad news. Everybody's addicted to sugar. Everybody likes sugar. I mean, I can't tell you how many of my patients tell me they have a sugar issue. It's because everybody does. So the object is to keep it to a very, very low level. So again, I would concentrate on strength training, eat a low inflammation diet, which includes very low levels of processed food, very low levels of sugar, and a diet high, hopefully as much as possible, in organic, non-processed foods, which means you primarily cook at home a lot. And then if you do those 2 things, that's really going to make a difference in your fat loss. And I would also say this, intermittent fasting is really important. So if you can wait till 11 or 12 in the morning to eat, that's the best. Sometimes I don't wait quite that long, depending on the day, but a lot of times I don't eat till 1 or 2 o'clock, sometimes later than that. So having a schedule of intermittent fasting is really, really important. And if you can wait like 15 hours between your evening meal and your next meal that day, that's going to help you an enormous amount in reducing visceral fat. So I think I've covered everything I need to cover. I just want you to remember this from these studies that I've gone over. Number 1, visceral fat alters brain function in a negative way. But there's other things that contribute to Alzheimer's as well. High or low HDL cholesterol and high levels of insulin and insulin resistance. And if you can manage those 3 things, you're going to greatly reduce your chances for Alzheimer's. Now, there's other things that I could talk about regarding Alzheimer's that aren't in these articles, but if we can do just what I'm saying for right now, you're going to be way ahead of the game. So I'm Dr. Paul Firnhaber. I'm at Lincoln Disc and Nutrition Center in Lincoln, Nebraska. If you want to get in touch with us and talk about our functional medicine services or chiropractic, our number is 402-488-2220. We'd love to be able to sit down and talk to you and help make you a more healthy, vibrant individual. So I will see you next Wednesday.